oh, you're so into it. And I was like, yeah, that's it, man. It's like, to get into it. We want to be like that in our spiritual practice. We want to be like, oh, yes, yes, yes. No matter what is going on. You know, the theme of the month is from setback to comeback. And, setbacks are those things that oftentimes, they're really only a setback if you view them as a setback. They're always a setup. It's a setup to something greater. It's a setup to move from growing through challenges that are uncomfortable and irritating, like having a burr in your sock, to moving into a place where you feel like the law of creation is working through me and for me and as me. So welcome, welcome, welcome. We're going to explore that today. The topic today is overturning your own apple cart. We want to overturn our own apple cart. We'll get to that in a moment. Get those apples, just spread them all. We got to find the rotten ones and get them out of there. But before we do that, I just want to say welcome. I know there's some new people here today. Welcome to Soul Center. We are part of the Agape Association, and we believe in that beautiful, magnificent light, the love, the truth teachings, the ageless teachings that are found in the golden thread, as you've heard me say many times, in all the religions and all the traditions. When you go into the mystical teachings of Judaism, Christianity, Islam, Buddhism, Hinduism, when you get into the mystical teachings, you will find a party going on in there. You will find all of the religions, all of those mystical teachings they're all just dancing and grooving. They're like rocking out, like Titus was like, oh, they're all in it. And they're having a magnificent time because they know that the absolute truth that's coded and loaded in all the sacred texts in the Hebrew Bible, in the Christian Bible, in the Bhagavad Gita, in the Quran, there is truth teachings in there. But if you don't know how to read them, because it's not a literal, none of the sacred texts are literal books. Most of those, if you don't understand how to read them, they are written with idiomatic expressions. And you have to understand how to read. You have to get into a feeling. And the same way that you would read a sacred text is the same way you want to read your life. We want to read our life and understand how things work in our beingness. How does our body work? How do our emotions work? How does our mind work? How does our karmic body work? Remembering that karma is not anything to do with punishment, for we also know in our sacred teachings that God is pure grace, pure beauty, pure light, pure love, that we are all the chosen people. The chosen people are those that choose. Choosy choosers choose God. And we want to choose God, because God is bliss beyond our wildest dreams. Reminds me of that. Remember from the old days there was that choosy mother choose chip, I think it was. And I'm saying we're choosing God. We're choosing God because God is fun, God is joy, God is bliss, God is truth, and God always says yes. Yes to anything. So we want to be mindful, because that yes can sometimes work to our disadvantage. If we are saying, I want to have a rotten day, the universe says yes. You can have a rotten day if you would like to. God is rejuvenating. God is regenerative. God is eternal. And we are part of a community that believes in these truth teachings to the degree that we cultivate them within our own beingness to bring them into an experience. So if you were to follow Reverend Michael's teachings and understand kind of the evolutionary impulse where he talks about the 4 stages of evolution. One of the stages is when you're in victim consciousness. That's the lowest level of vibration, where you think things are happening to you. And then the next level is when you start moving up to like realizing, oh wait, no, I'm a creative being. I can create things, I can make things. And you start realizing like about the law of attraction and how if I affirm, okay, I'm positive, I'm prosperous. But that oftentimes gets misconstrued, and a lot of people are using willpower instead of surrendered divine will. And so we want to be very clear on when we're migrating up, and then we move into the 3rd state of consciousness, which is things are happening through me. I am now in a place of prayer and meditation. I'm aware of the laws of the universe, and I can utilize them in a surrendered state, which means I'm in a place of divine cooperation with my soul, the part of you that is more you than you could ever even imagine. Because if you think of your personality, your age, your condition, your gender, any of those things, you would be incorrect in terms of who you are at your core. At your core, you are an infinite, angelic being of holy light, and we want to access that and bring it into our experience. And then the fourth stage of evolutionary consciousness is when things are happening as me. Like the light, the ray of light is to the sun, as the drop of water is to the ocean, as we are to God, created in the image and likeness. And when you study these mystical teachings, you will also find in all of the mystical teachings under divine right perception and understanding, because you have to feel the energy, you will find they're all saying the same thing. They're all saying that we need to honor the truth of life. And so in the human realm, we have been given these bodies and this energy to live and have experiences. And oftentimes you hear people say in spiritual communities like, oh, infinite possibilities. There's infinite possibilities at hand. Well, I just want to make one little teeny tiny adjustment. We're interested in infinite benevolent possibilities, because infinite possibilities means if you want to, again, have that rotten day, you can have the rotten day. That's also in the realm of infinite possibilities. And so we want to start to understand the language of pain, the language of discord, the language of duality, and to always know that coded in everything, it's kind of like, how a negative number plus a negative number equals a positive number, and a positive number plus a positive number equals a positive number. That's kind of like God. Even in a negative situation, good is in there, the positive is in there, and so we want to seek and cultivate that positivity, which means we have to stop. And so in most religions, there's the day of Sabbath. And the Sabbath day is when, in Judaism, that would be from sundown to sundown, from Friday to Saturday. And in Christianity, on Sunday, that's the day of the Sabbath. And Buddhism and some of the other religions, they also have their days too, coordinated with moon cycles and things like that. But the Sabbath is the day that you take to commune with Spirit full on. Full on. Like, I know, most Sabbath means that no work, no intellectualizing. You completely surrender. Surrender into bliss, surrender into joy, surrender into relaxation. So we do want to differentiate between, a lounge lizard day where I'm just taking the day off and I'm going to just kind of eat my bonbons and relax, or a Sabbath day. A Sabbath day means I'm communing with the Spirit, and I'm allowing for a place of integration to take place, to allow it to fortify and rejuvenate my beingness. And so, oftentimes what we want to do on a Sabbath is we want to overturn our apple cart. Because if you don't overturn your apple cart on your own, because, an apple cart is that reference to carefully laid plans, and so if you're like I used to be, I was like that typical anal retentive Virgo that used to be, I have it all planned out, I do everything right, and it's like, okay, but we want to be open, that other expression, which is kind of like, go with the flow, So we want to differentiate between the two and know that if you're really going with the flow, I'm talking about really allowing, that means you get to, if your apple cart gets turned over, you're like, okay, what's going on? What is the benevolent, beautiful opportunity for me here? Or the difference between that and spiritual bypass, where you're kind of like, you're saying you're going with the flow, but really you're all twisted up in knots inside, and you're not really going, you're like, oh, something happened really bad. Like that time a few weeks ago, or a few months ago, I think I was telling you about that car accident that I got into, and I went, boom, smack, I think it was maybe 60 seconds into what good is happening here. And I started to say, well, I'm going to go with the flow on this. And as you remember, I'm not going to go into the story, but it was an awesome experience. It was the best car crash. I mean, it was like smashed into the back of the truck. It was pretty wild. And it was, airbag, the whole thing. It was awesome. And I started searching for what was good right away, but I wasn't doing a bypass and I wasn't doing an intellectualizing. I invited God into the equation. I went into the prayer field immediately. Well, 60-second delay. And so I want to just open up to that and start to become aware of the different languages. So today I'd like to I'd like to put it out there that we're all more invested in knowing the absolute truth in our lives than the lowercase t of T of my truth. You know, you've heard people say like, well, my truth is this. And it's like, usually that's, embedded in some sort of judgmental perception against others or something like that, which is not capital T truth. The capital T truth is the truth that sets you free. It's the truth that takes you from glory to greater glory. We all want to move into the third and fourth stages of consciousness, that we can go from glory to greater glory, where the days of those obstacles that feel like they're burrs in our socks are left behind us, because we just snap into the immediate and the immaculate awareness of what's good in my life. So, sometimes that becomes a little challenging, especially when you got a big old burr. And this was part of what I was going to bring up today, and I know that somebody here is actually kind of going through this, so I'm going to just share that. This was about 20 years ago. I had the most chronic, painful sciatica going on in my body. And it really hurt. Now, most of you know that I am in the mystical school of energy medicine, which is where in divine energy medicine, it's all about understanding the language of your life, your entire life. You want to understand what a pain means in your body. You want to understand what discord means in your body of affairs. You want to understand what the truth is. The faster you can get to the truth, the faster you're into bliss. And so we want to be absolutely, so when we're overturning our apple cart, we're being spiritually proactive, because I will tell you, there are things that are kind of dormant within our energy body, and they bubble up in seemingly inopportune times, especially, so back then, I was going through a lot of issues with feeling supported in the world. Some of you know a little bit. I'm going to give you just a laser story. I used to be in corporate America, and it was all ego-driven, all money-driven, all when my self-worthlessness issues were up. I was working for a manic-depressive, bipolar, misogynistic, money-mongering millionaire who loved to control people. And if you have one of those people, and then you take somebody who was doing what I was doing back then, which had low self-esteem, low self-worth, was like saying, treat me horribly, that was kind of in the subconscious of my energy field. Well, what a great match! You can control me. And it's like Joe Dispenza says, if you don't take control of your mind, the world will. And in this particular instance, the world, which was my work environment, took place, so I was always that submissive. I was amazing. I give myself a little pat on the back. I was an amazing employee because, also that Virgo stuff, loyal, real detail-oriented, so perfect for this misogynistic egomaniac. And so I did a great job. But I also, every year for the 10 years that I was there, I'm like, I am out of here. I am so out of here. I'm sick of this. I'm out of here. And then that voice would show up. Oh, you'll never get anything. You're not really that great. You'll never make this much money. Things like that. And so those voices became overwhelming. But I didn't know that voice was something that I could do anything about. That was just not even in my perception. It was just like, no. I went into management mode, where we manage, on Monday, you gotta be really careful, because he'll go off into a big hissy fit if that happens, so just make sure you don't do that. Be really good. Well, that takes a toll on your beingness, because you're not allowing your soul to express. Self-worth, if you have worthiness issues, pretty much, I'm going to go out on a limb, almost every single person on the planet has an abandonment issue and a worthiness issue. And we are all on the trajectory to heal those and stand in our magnificence around that. And it is probably going to be the entirety of this lifetime that you are going to lift yourself into a greater and grander expression. So coming back to that sciatic experience, it was back around that time. And I couldn't tell you, that was probably one of the lowest points in my life of feeling supported, because it was like, you just never knew that my boss would come in on a regular basis, and then, but that carrot was there, that six-figure carrot was always in front of me, like, yeah, okay, more money, and then all I was doing was using all that more money to, go on vacations to recover from all of the emotional trauma and whatnot. And so we want to become aware. So I went in and I decided that, first of all, when there's something like that, whether it's a physical ailment, whether it is a financial ailment, whether it's something with relationships, whatever it is, stop. Stop and get to your Sabbath point. You want to commune with God, and you want it to be a 10 on the Richter scale, and I'm going to say, do not relent. Do not relent. A client of mine the other day, it was really funny because I would do this, and so they asked me, he told me, I just got so mad at God the other day. I was like, he was just like yelling at God, and he's like, is that okay? You know what? It is. It is. God doesn't take anything personally. You think Don Miguel Ruiz knows about not taking things personally. God never takes anything personally. You can yell and scream all you want, and all it's going to do is just go into this vapor of bliss. I will say this. If you ever do stumble upon a time of anger or frustration, there is constructive anger and there's destructive anger. Destructive anger is you this, you that, it's blamey, it's shamey, it's everything is wrong, everything is bad, everything's going to HE double hockey sticks in a handbasket. We don't want to do that. If you want to use anger energy constructively, then you can say something very respectful and be like, gosh darn it, I just absolutely choose to feel the energy of God flowing through me as prosperity. You got that bill that showed up, or that parking ticket, or whatever, and you want to go down the rabbit hole and start, oh God, I can't believe it happened to me again. I got to pay more, I don't have more. And then you start affirming what you don't want to affirm. And so you can just have a big old spiritual hissy fit and use your anger constructively. So we'll just all set the intention today that if some sort of frustration or anger should come up, that's part of the human experience, it'd be great. We'll also set the intention that we never have to be frustrated. When you're in level 3, level 4, you don't get frustrated, you don't get angry, you go with the flow, and it's real, it's real. So I decided to do what I always do. I do it all the time. I've been doing it for the past almost 20 years now. I sit. If something painful comes up physically, emotionally, mentally, situationally, and you ask, first of all, you want to set the intention. You set the intention, I am seeking an immaculate, benevolent, beautiful healing. Absolutely, it is the mandate of the kingdom of heaven that goodness is to reveal itself through me. I claim it. I'm looking for it. Seek and ye shall find. I will seek and find the healing that is to take place through joy, through peace, through love, in my body temple, in my body of affairs, whatever it is. And then you want to be available to have a day of Sabbath with that. Nothing should be more important than taking the time to allow, to open to the rejuvenating nectar. And so it took actually 5 weeks. It took me 5 weeks to get to a place where I sat with it, and I got to the place where I understood what my body was telling me, and I haven't had it since. It's been over 20 years. So we want to just be open to that. I shared with you, I think it was a couple years ago, I shared another time where, we don't want to kind of minimize things or think that things are random. There's nothing random in the universe. Everything is on purpose and on point. And so I think I shared with you, I'll just give you a little bit more. I had gone hiking, and a week later I had this huge rash right here on my lower belly here, and then I had a little bit here and a little bit here on the inner arm. And I didn't know what it was, and I went to a dermatologist, and the dermatologist didn't know what it was either. That was really strange. I was like, how can a dermatologist not know what a rash is? But it was all part of the divine plan. Gave me some cortisone cream, went home, sat for the weekend because it showed up on a Friday, and I had all weekend before I could go to my regular physician. And so what did I have to do? I had to sit with it. Turns out, it was poison oak. And if you've ever had poison oak is like mean. It's a mean bean. And so I was sitting there and I was like, okay. And every time I would ask it what was going on in meditation, in prayer, you invite the holy presence of God into your consciousness through prayer, and you ask questions. You want to ask questions of the universe. The universe always answers. You may not be listening to the answer, but the answer always comes. If you don't get the answer, ask again and listen again. The answer will come regardless. You could ask once. The answer will show up no matter what, but you have to be primed and ready. Day of Sabbath. You take your Sabbath day. If you look at the work, normally we work 5 days a week, and then we have our 2 days. One day you can go play and have fun, and one day you can take as your Sabbath day. Now, there's no rule. I'm not going to imply that you have to do it in a particular fashion. You can move it around, you could cut it in half, you can do a half a day here and a half a day there. In our teachings, you would be in a ceaseless Sabbath. You would never be out of that vibratory field. You would take that consciousness and ceaseless meditation and ceaseless prayer everywhere you go with you and allow yourself to express from there. Level 3, 4 consciousness. And so I sat with it and it started to tell me, oh, you're cheap. And I was like, oh, wow. And I just happened to be going through a time with money issues. And so I was listening to it. And every time I would broach the truth, it would go. And every time I would go off in a different direction of love for me, then it would irritate more. Because the truth wants to set you free and your body will tell you. And so when I did finally get to it, it healed. Now, that one took a little bit of time also. Sometimes it takes a minute. But you want to be relentless. And again, especially when it comes to medical things, if you go out into the Western world and you ask medical professionals, be wary. What you seek, you will find. So if I am seeking to find something unbeknownst to myself in my subconscious where I'm giving my power over to Western medicine. Now Western medicine, it's not bad. Western medicine there's a tremendous amount of good. And God is in everything, in every space and every place. So in Western medicine, God is there too. But the way you approach Western medicine makes all the difference in the world because there is a worldly model, and if you're not careful, you might accidentally plug in to a riptide that pulls you down a rabbit hole that you don't want to go down. And so you got to have a little spiritual moxie in you that says, so you want to get a hold of a spiritual practitioner. You want somebody that you can lean into when you need to lean into them, as well as get staminize, I'm going to say, I don't know if that's a word, staminize your inner beingness that you are unwavered. I am seeking and finding good. If you want to find somebody who's going to tell you that Oreos and a big glass of milk is the answer to your physical fitness, you'll probably find somebody out there that will tell you that. I can tell you that is not true. Now, if you did have the spiritual wherewithal to know, eating these Oreos, total physical wellness and vitality is happening in my body temple, and you can transmute those sugar, those preservatives, and you can make them turn into goodness and muscle and physical fitness. If you have that level of mastery, you're not going to be eating Oreos. You're going to probably not be eating anything at all. You're going to be a breatharian, because that's another level of mastery. So we want to be available to that. We want to be available to making sure that we take our Sabbath and that we do not take no for an answer, that we are seeking and finding our good. So one of the things I'd like to just put up there, now remember that there's going to be a point in your evolution, and I'd like that point to be in this life, in these bodies, where you're no longer going to have to navigate through challenges in life. You're never going to have to navigate through a setback as something that you have to recover from. You're going to automatically move knowing that everything is a setup, and that you're come back, as you come back into this, that you are actually expanding beyond your wildest dreams into the greatness of who you are. Because there is something magnificent. There are talents and gifts and magnificence within your beingness that will blow your mind. And we want it to blow our surface mind. We want to blow our surface minds wide open. And I will tell you the other part of all of this. It's done in a way, when you choose it, in a way that resonates through you and joy. There's like a certain way. I remember also, very recently, I had a client of mine saying like, well, there's certain things I don't like. It's like, is it okay to just not like something? And I'm like, well, it's a touchy question there. If you can not like something, if you don't have a charge on it. If you have a charge on it, then there's some inner work to be done. So, if there's a particular, brand of music that you don't like, if it gets you all hot and bothered and twisted in a knot, then there's something you want to work on like that. If there's somebody whose personality gets you all in a tizzy and you want to choose the road of avoiding, where it's like, oh, okay, well, I'll just stay this away from them. No, there's no healing really taking place there. There's just a deference. We're just deferring the inevitable because we're all divine emanations of light. We are all angels of the Most High. In that space where all of the mystics are partying and having a grand old time, they see each other as God sees them. They love each other as God loves them. They know themselves as God knows themselves. And it is brilliant. And so the day that we are in that third, fourth level of consciousness, in our immaculate way of life, being in the world but not of it, you're walking around going, oh my God, I see the magnificent light of the Holy Spirit of God in you. Let's party. Because that's what it is. It is a big celestial party. And so, back in the, so a couple things just to highlight and recap. You want to kind of assess what's going on. Take a look at a situation in your life. Now, once there's a phenomenon that takes place. Once you say, okay, God, all right, I'm completely opening to you for providence, for guidance, and you can just zero in on a specific thing. If it's a physical thing, a situational thing, whatever it is. And then you invite God in. Once you invite God in, then you can literally just say, God, presence, Holy Spirit of magnificence, truth, bliss, joy, grace, however you want to word how you feel God, I invite you into this. And then you can just name your situation, whatever it is. And I choose to see the truth and participate and cooperate in the most benevolent experience of an unfoldment in this right now. You can just do that. That's all you have to do. Invite God into the equation because that is what prayer is. Prayer is an evocation of transmutation that allows us, it's kind of like that lifeline, that goes from the physical world to the realm of duality where there can be good and bad and discord and disharmony and all of these things. And it's like where there wasn't a way, there is a way. Because there is a win-win every moment of every day. There's a win if you're in any situational circumstance with a relationship with somebody that maybe feels a little off or something like that. There's a win-win, and we want to look for that win-win. And we ask for the win-win. We say, okay, show me the win-win, the most benevolent and beautiful way. And you're really appealing to the intelligence of your soul because we know that it's not outside of us, it's inside us. We carry the wisdom of this everywhere we go. You carry the entirety of the kingdom of heaven coded in your soul everywhere you go. I walk over here, I brought it with me. I walk over here, I brought it with me. I go to Hawaii, I brought it with me. I go to Tulsa, it's there. There's no place that you, even in Tulsa. I've been to Tulsa. It used to be questionable. No, it's a good place. And so we want to really be open to that. We want to be open to that magnificence. And so we're going to go ahead. And I just want you to, if there's anything, so remembering, now, if you're already on this path of enlightenment and you're already in stage 3, 4 consciousness, then that means glory to greater glory. If you're dabbling between 2 and 3 consciousness where every once in a while, or maybe you dip down into victim stage, you got to remember, you got to have that secret decoder. Victim consciousness, anytime you're using the word something along the lines of, oh, well, because of this, that's happening. No. That is, no, don't fall for that balance. That is a big, big cosmic mistake. There's no because of this that's happening. In the realm of the human experience, yeah, we can rationalize it there. And we don't want to make it bad, but we want to know that something greater is available at every moment. So we want to allow that rejuvenating nectar to flow through us, and we want to allow it. So I would just invite you to bring to mind, if there's any area in your life right now that you have any discord, whether it's physical, emotional,